In May 2013, the Galway Statement was signed, and this statement launched an Atlantic cooperation between the EU, Canada and the USA. The European Commission, in order to serve the Galway Statement, decided to launch a coordination and support action call, and this was awarded in 2015 to the Marine Institute-led coordination and support action called the Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance Coordination and Support Action. The objective is to act as the glue, keeping things all moving together and helping to synergize, find cost effectiveness, looking at the horizons and seeing different opportunities that we can harness for the Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance to create something that's bigger than the sum of its parts. We bring together stakeholders, we create a dynamic, we create conditions under which these stakeholders can meet to have their dialogue, which will then scope out the research topic areas. So we've identified, for instance, transits that our member states' research vessels go on into the Atlantic and across the Atlantic. These research cruises incorporate a multi-beam echo sounder that can give the highest resolution. And from the data that comes from this, we can build a 3D map of the seafloor. So we've been delighted to show, for instance, that we discovered along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge a mountain range larger than Carntoohil in Ireland, Ireland's highest mountain range. We've also discovered on the Canadian vessel underwater volcanoes that previously we didn't know were there. So we can see that the value of the seabed mapping, we're finding things that to current knowledge do not exist. The AORA Working Group on Ocean Literacy formed a partnership with Educational Passages. This is a US-based educational organisation which promotes an awareness of the oceans. This AORA Working Group formed a partnership with Educational Passages, and now they've devised an Atlantic regatta. The sailboats are set off from Canada and from the US. They cross the Atlantic and they end up in the Atlantic bordering countries. So as part of the 6th opportunistic survey, the little mini sailboat that Maeve Nguyen found in Connemara, which has now been repaired and refurnished, a new sail put on it, and it's a beautifully repainted job by Maeve and her classmates as well as the Sea Scouts. This is now going to be relaunched into the Atlantic by the Celtic Explorer on its way across the St. John's. So I think we've created a really good can-do attitude amongst all of the 3 jurisdictions. Everyone gets on really well together, and we've seen quite an accelerated pace, for instance, in terms of the Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance working groups, and making those connections between the working groups and all of the different research projects, for instance, that have been funded in Europe, but also in Canada and the US. By 2020, I think what we would hope to achieve is to have assisted the dialogue between the 3 jurisdictions. I think we've created those right conditions in which to have that dialogue. Also, more catalysing actions and the synergising actions, and to have assisted the AORA working groups develop a list of topics that everybody has validated as being the list in which the cooperation will continue.